don't you? What time is it?
7 o'clock.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This being our regular council meeting of May 18th at 7 p.m. Clerk, call roll, please.
Clark,
Here.
Conan,
Here.
Wallach,
Here.
Ballard,
Here.
Cooper.
Here,
Next is the approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make an addition under new business. I'd like to make addendum letter of understanding for salvage title, please.
Dumb.
Addendum letter.
I wish I could spell, that's the problem.
That's okay.
Just put
Letter.
letter.
Letter for
Salvage
salvage
title.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Salvage vehicle title.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And of course, we are going to, that'll be new business also. We're going to appoint council members.
Tonight?
Not tonight.
Oh, okay.
At the
Yep.
next
That's for
Yeah,
upcoming
that's for
agenda.
That's for
upcoming,
the
yeah.
upcoming though, so you can
Yep.
write it down.
Okay. That's at the next meeting.
Any discussion?
When do we need to pull the?
Not yet.
Oh,
Oh,
I mean-
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
we do.
under administrative you do, yeah.
Okay, we need to pull the treasurer's report. The meeting is a week early, and with all the meetings that we've had, I haven't been able to crunch it in early for you.
Hold
Yeah.
Hold till next meeting.
And F and V too, while we're at it.
Yeah, because we still don't have
Yeah,
it.
we still don't have it. We had Henning with us on our meetings.
He-
Ken
He's
Oh.
from
the,
F&B. He was
District guy for
also
F&B.
here today, Steve. He was also here today.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Mr. President, I'll move the agenda be accepted as amended.
I'll second.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Citizen comments, no citizens in the audience to know. And tonight we have no presentations scheduled for this meeting. And the administrative reports, is there any that, liaison reports?
Mr. President, the letters to our Main Street residents on their construction have gone out today. And next week sometime, the ones for the T Street and the T Street culvert and the Prospect Street Bridge will be mailed to them.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
questions should be
Directed to Mr.
directed
Brown.
here to the village office, and the village office will get a hold of me.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard.
I stopped down at the sewer treatment plant last week. Brian was there, and then the one fellow that Ken had mentioned is the float that's going between. Just walked around, took a look at a few things, and just had a little discussion with him. And, I told him I'll be stopping in from time to time, and any of the other members, feel free to just stop in. You know, it doesn't hurt to take a look around and show our presence down there, so.
And we're going to talk to you tonight that you're going to set the sewer commission in, or are you going to resign the water, or?
I can do both for right now. That's not a problem. I can't see saddling a new person with
No.
any of this stuff right now. I'll be glad to have somebody shadow me and we can look at stuff like that for
Well, like I
future.
asked
I mean, it's up to you.
No,
but-
no, I mean, that's fine with me, I told you, you know, that I just want to know roughly, so in case we have to plan for it.
Yeah,
But we'll have 2 new people coming on, and then one, you know, we may assign as such to work with you or something like that.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. That's what I was gonna suggest.
That's sort of my opinion right now, you know, so, and give you some help then if that's the case, you know, so. And I think that's why I wanted to talk with the rest of the council too while we're talking about that, so. And I think the rest of the council is in agreement because even Lyle's been sitting in on meetings for us also with the sewer plant. Which it's a great concern we have in the problems we have with the, with Giffords, period, you know, so. The plans, we've been finding stuff, we're late people, and we've been finding it. Of course, we've had some others, professionals with us too, so, but I think we're doing wonders with it so far. So, and Joe has been really diligent too as such, to go ahead and follow through with calls and knowing what's going on. So she's very good at it too, so.
Are you talking about the sewer plant now, right?
Well,
Yes,
yes, such,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Sewer and the sewer construction, you know,
Right.
so. It's gonna be the lining and everything else pertaining to, you know, so. That's why I say, and Steve has sat in, you know, in the meetings already too, along with Lyle too, so. He has a great knowledge of it, and like these guys have been on the sewer department before as commissioners. And that's why I'm sort of asking, did ask, I should say, and still asking for their fine contributions to the council as such, you know, so. And they've been more than obliging. So it's as such, I'm very pleased with their contributions, you know, along with it, so.
Thank you.
And the meetings, naturally, it's not no half-hour meetings. Today was, we did break, wasn't it, about 4 to 2 or something maybe today, was it? Yeah, like almost 2 o'clock we broke today, and we was here at 10:30, so, you know, it's time consuming for all of us, you know, so, but.
The week before that was like a 5-hour meeting.
Yeah.
Then the
you
one
know,
before that was
so-
about 3 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just like I say,
a lot of information.
information's been, you know, sought and gotten, really. So, thank you for that. So going to the general business consent agenda,
I'd like to remove the regular
full
council
minutes.
meeting minutes, yeah.
yeah, and payment of bills is not in there then either.
That
No,
is in
payment
there.
bills is, but
That is in
the
there.
minutes are not.
I'm sorry, I forgot to look.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Moved and supported, discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. There's no old business tonight, and new business update on the status of the S2 grant.
Sorry, I put that under you.
Joe, you want to,
Well, like Mark said, we've had numerous meetings now with DEQ and with Giffords and F&V. F&V, I think, is going to be a wealth of information and knowledge for us to kind of double check and reference some things with. Right now, we're at a stage where we're trying to make sure that we're going forward fast enough to stay in compliance with the S2 so that there's no threat of having to pay any of that money back. We're at a point that we need to identify the most critical issues in the plant. Either way, Michael had budgeted in the budget to make the repairs on the ventilation issues at the plant where the plant is holding gases that are dangerous. So we will probably go forward with that using the surplus funds that we had in the sewer plant to take care of that issue because it is such a safety concern. And like when we said at the last meeting too, well, you know, it's not so bad now, it's summertime, doors are open, but there's still the first guy in the plant when it's been closed up all night, say a rainy week and it's been closed up for many days, it's still dangerous. So we may look at that right now and do that under our own funds and pull it completely out of the S2, which means that it won't have any bearing on the qualification of the S2 at all. It'll be a separate project that we'll do on our own. And once we get into it, and by pulling it out, we don't need a, what did she call that? A review.
Right, administrative review.
Administrative review.
What are we replacing?
The
We're,
grit building, the ventilation.
the
of grit
ventilation
building.
system in it, it needs to have a
That's the old
whole
building behind
air
there?
makeup
It's the
No.
one that's
Rehab.
connected right to the,
Okay,
because it's holding gases in the room, any spark.
so what do we need, ventilation or
You
what?
need to have a full makeup system put into it so that it changes the air makeup in the room. It'll.
What has changed then in all these years that?
Nothing, that's why you've got all that corrosion on the electric and stuff, it's just slowly been building
That
up.
was a
and it's
design
been
flaw, so to speak.
Yes, and, you know, it's not something that anybody really detected until we got into the S2 program and DEQ says, you know, you need to identify
And
these
what's
things.
Giffords' role in this?
Giffords is the engineers part of the engineers, they
Put it
actually
together.
Because
started
these
out
guys,
with Lombardo.
F and D, they're engineers themselves.
Exactly, and that's what I said at the last
That's
council
helpful.
meeting, I would have liked to see F&V have more input into that whole
Process.
evaluation in the first place, because they're the guys in that plant, they're the guys that's using that equipment on a daily basis. Nobody's gonna know more about it than they do.
Right.
Lyle went through and kind of evaluated a few things in it, he doesn't agree with the size of the generator that
Big point of
Giffords
contentious.
is putting in. I mean, that's a big expensive piece, and if it doesn't have to be as enormous as what it appears to be in that proposal, I'm all for not putting one in that big. In fact, even in the proposal, it says that the plant is operating and has operated even in power outages,
Which one
just
was
fine.
said.
and Michael has said that all along.
Yes.
So there still are a lot of things in that plan proposal that we don't have a completed issue on as yet, that we still need to review. DEQ is working with us phenomenally. I can't believe the cooperation.
Can I ask, who was at the meeting today?
Karen,
Karen
Ken,
Ken from F&B.
F&V,
Ed,
Ed,
Joe,
Myself.
Lyle,
Marv,
Mark.
Michelle and I.
Giffords
Yeah.
was not.
No,
No,
No.
didn't show.
they scheduled it
They-
wrong.
There was
They
a
didn't show.
scheduling
They were the one who
issue.
asked to be at the
Right,
meeting,
yeah,
and
that's what I
then,
thought.
yeah,
Okay.
and then,
and then they didn't have the paperwork ready either.
Who's the
Yeah, so-
DEQ person?
Karen
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 Nichols.
Nichols.
We
And,
had her on other things, haven't we?
Dennis
Yeah.
Ryan didn't
That
come
name
in.
sounds familiar.
Oh,
yeah,
He had an issue
and he
too.
had a scheduling issue.
So there, it was, wasn't the meeting that we'd hoped for, I think, but I think in the end, I couldn't be in today, so they actually got, I think, some
We
good
got quite a bit
information.
accomplished. on
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Well, and it's hard to step into this kind of a program and just know the whole components of everything. So it's been a process of kind of putting things into perspective so that we know what we can do, and it breaks it down to where it's palatable to understand it. So right now, we're looking at either doing the ventilation system on our own, get that done, it's a safety issue, get it out of the way. It will have no bearing on the S2. If we leave it into the S2 and do it at a later date, because we are not gonna be ready to have this adopted in DEQ's current budget year.
Which June 30th.
So you think
So-
we're a year away or?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Well, that replacement fund, can't we do that with that?
That's our funds that I'm talking about, that
Yeah.
if we do it in that, it pulls it right out of the S2. So it does not count as qualifying
Yeah.
repairs
So
for
we can do
the
that with
S2.
that or with
We
that
can do that with,
ventilation.
we can do the ventilation right now with those funds, depending on the bids. I mean, it's still gotta be put out to bid, and there's gotta be
well,
a
as far as
spec
the
written.
DEQ, was that still one of their main concerns?
That is one of
Ventilation
the
and
number five.
Okay.
The fives were the most critical.
Okay.
So, as far as liability on our part, I think it's important that we address that one right away, whether it falls into the S2 or not. If we pull it out of the S2, then when we go into the next budget year for DEQ, we'll be looking at first or second quarter in their funding year. And it would have to go on, any of whatever the next repairs, the next most critical that is identified, will have to go under an SRF. If we leave the ventilation in the S2, and we can still pay for it ourselves, but we file it and get it done after everything is filed for the S2, it can be part of that program. But it's like any of the other grant projects or anything that you do, if you pay for it first, you can't get reimbursed for it, and you can't count
So
it.
you're working with them. to-
Yes.
Yes.
So
But we will be covered.
keeping-
Sounds like you're doing an
Like you
awful
said
lot
before,
of
Steve,
coordinating, both of you
anything
guys.
we do, we'll be covered on it. So, and they'll back us because they know we've tried.
Well,
That was
with-
And they've been very, very cooperative.
well, with that, really, the ventilation problem, but they have trouble with the grid system itself.
Yes.
Needs to be,
But that'll be a different item,
okay, yeah.
so,
We're not gonna redesign this thing, are we?
no, and I'd like
Well,
to try to
basically
limit it.
gonna-
It's worn out, but I don't
Right,
doubt, I
we're
don't doubt that
replacing-
there are better grid systems that have come out since we've done ours
Right.
25 years ago.
Right, technology has changed, and
You know, we have all sorts of people go through there.
Yeah.
and
Okay,
yeah.
Like
they came
as,
from China.
like a tourist,
Yeah,
or,
they came
I
from
don't mean
China.
a tourist, but I mean, like, yeah, like from China, from different places in the country to go through this system. It was
Yeah, at
so
one time
new
it
at
was
the time.
state of the art, but
Yeah, state of arts.
technology has kind of run away and passed it up long.
Well,
time
even
ago.
when I talked to Brian down there, and I talked to him about with smartphones and everything nowadays, I said, if you could check into some things like that, you don't have to come, you know, they get an alarm.
There's
For
a
what?
scout, yeah.
They don't know.
There's a Scala program out there that they're
that's a
looking
good
at
point.
as well.
Is there an
that-
app for it?
That they
You know, if
can,
it's something that he could
they
do
can
over the
Yeah.
phone
monitor
itself.
through their phones, yeah.
Or then, okay, the alarm went off and you can visually see the readings and say,
Yeah, what
okay, I
alarm
better
it
get
was.
in there, or no, it's coming down and we're good.
Yeah, yeah, they do have a program that,
I mean, it might cost us a little bit of money in the beginning, but it could save us money in paying for these guys, because when they come in, I'm sure they're at least 2 or 3 hours.
Well, they gotta travel,
Every time
you
we-
know, it's not like they live
You know.
and
next
F and
door.
B's been good about identifying things like that and kind of evaluating the necessity or the urgency for it.
Right.
You know, the same way with Giffords has put together 4 proposals. You know, you can take proposal A and it does this minimal amount. You take proposal B and you add this amount to it. You take proposal C and it's this amount. Proposal A is limited, doesn't keep you into the compliance for the O&M, but you gotta remember O&M isn't covered by an SRF.
Right.
So F&B is going to work with us in helping us comprehend and understand how critical some of these items are that's on there. You know, if we've got equipment in there that we're being suggested or recommended that we should bring this up into compliance so that you'll be in compliance for the next 20 years. If this piece of equipment's still got 10 years on it, I don't see any sense changing it yet.
Right.
So that's where they're gonna be really, really helpful to us.
How much did we have budgeted spending for this whole thing?
That's changed so many times now that I'd have to go back to the budget and
Because
look.
if we don't have that part included with the S2, that's more cost. Because didn't S2 say you had to spend a certain amount to get the grant?
No, no.
I
It
thought
have to be
It's a
moved
loan, it's a
forward.
loan.
But the ventilation system that Michael put in, all you have to do to satisfy the S2 grant is to be working towards making these corrections, bringing everything into compliance.
Okay.
Like step by step, in other words.
Right.
Right, and it's a 5-year plan, so you've got that length of time to put it all together and get it all completed. But do we have to do everything that's recommended in there? I don't think so.
Okay.
So,
That's why I don't want to run out of
That's where
money.
F&B.
Anything that's a 4 or 5, it would seem like.
At 4 and 5, you have to. But there are things in the 4 and 5 that may not be what they're spelled out to be, the generator for one.
Right. We call that, I think, a 4.
Yeah, and
It's
Ed identified some of the sewer lining things on their map that was incorrect. So there's still some work to do in the planning stages of it. Giffords will be here Wednesday morning to meet with me and hopefully bring me the next final plan. So,
When are we done with them?
When the plan
When the
is
plan- yeah.
accepted
When the
by the
plan's accepted by the
DEQ.
Okay, all right.
But Karen, I mean, we're
The jump ship
into
now,
next
I
year
mean-
now, right?
No,
Yeah, I
I'm just
know, it
wondering.
makes you want to, but
What's
we
the end
can't.
So it's
date? Where's the end of the tunnel?
Probably about another year.
There's a very dim light on it.
It's not in our hands, it's gonna be in the DEQ.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the DEQ,
Yeah,
they'll
like
they'll
let
submit
it
something
okay.
to DEQ, will write it up, well, you gotta look at this. I can see it
yeah,
going back
that's
and
where,
forth to
and
them
that's where
4 or
it's
5
becoming so
times.
kind
before
of,
Well,
we
it's
do it.
it's already gone
I
back
can
and
see
forth in the
funding
last
in
2 weeks.
2017 is what I can see.
We're not paying more every time it goes back, right?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's
I don't,
standard plan.
well,
And,
like I said, I wanna
we're
make
in
sure
too
we're not.
deep already now to say, oh, the heck with these guys.
Oh, no, I
Let's just figure it
understand
out.
that, but I know that there is an end date that we are done with them and I want to.
and I know we're holding back money,
Yes.
and I want that held back as long as
It's-
possible.
Yeah, well, we want it
In
to be
fact,
correct.
as far as I'm concerned, they should owe us money for all the stuff we've had to do because they didn't do it.
Just in these last 3 meetings that we've had, we've had some tremendous amount of mistakes that DEQ has helped us find. You know, and we're late people, you know, too. And like I said before, when we can find that ourselves, and this is not our career. So DEQ is behind us 100%. And it was good that I made the call to Ken from F&B to meet him to come in. And so that's when I asked him too, to come in and sit in on the meetings with us. He is more than, ready to do it, so.
He was actually very happy to
Yeah.
come in on that
It's
first.
a very,
basis. I
very
think
good
this is
tool that
great.
he's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So he's asked a few questions, and our first meeting with him was wonderful.
Yeah.
So you couldn't ask for a more excellent meeting with him, right, Steve?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you need those people all here, instead of letting them look at minutes of meetings or something, or
Right.
we relaying what is said and it gets
Things get lost in
misinterpreted. He is there at that meeting,
Right.
he heard it the same way we heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's behind us too.
Yeah.
So of what he's heard so far, about the concern that we have.
Well, and one of my biggest concerns right now too is timelines. We've got the S2 timeline that we have to meet. The engineers, for whatever reason, just can't seem to be.
Is that what you're meeting on? Did you say Wednesday? When did you have?
Wednesday morning,
Wednesday morning,
they're
they're
bringing
supposed
me
to
the
bring.
plans that should have been here last week.
Yeah.
What time is that meeting?
This morning, or tomorrow morning at 9. So,
No, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday's
the
the
auditors up tomorrow, Wednesday is,
Wednesday.
Yeah,
They'll
they're
be
supposed to be
at
here
9.
Wednesday at 9.
and then the pre-con
It's
Maybe.
10.
10. So,
Yeah, try and
just
make it. Juggle
put a
few
bomb under
things.
them and get them to where they're more receptive to getting things in on a timely basis.
Well, the problem is it comes in and then it's being attempted to be
reviewed.
reviewed, which, I mean, Joe's been fantastic, but, Michael had 2 years with this.
Mhm.
Trying to catch up and look at this and understand it for the layperson it's difficult.
Very difficult.
And I think trying to get up to speed right now is just, you feel like you're up against a brick wall, but, these guys have done a phenomenal job.
Well,
With the DEQ's been fantastic.
Well, I think it's great that we've involved them because they see that we have been
That we're
trying
making
and what
every
we
effort
are
that we
up
can.
against.
Right, well, they,
And we should
yes,
not
they
be
get,
penalized
yes,
for
yeah,
anything, we're trying.
yeah,
And we've said that many times, and
yeah,
they
she
said
understands.
yes
yeah.
too, so.
I mean, it's
Yeah, losing Michael at this stage of the game was kind of devastating, but
devastating at
we've
any
got
time.
some, yeah.
Well-
But I
We've got some good
understand.
resources
I think
now.
the way I see it too is that Michael was onto this, and then their figures didn't jive too.
Yeah,
And so the thing is that when Michael caught them, they were squirming. And just like they're squirming now.
well, I don't think that any engineering firm that's putting together these S2s, which is ridiculous amount, I don't think anybody expected Michael to go through it the way he did. I can't imagine how any person, if you don't have an engineer on staff that that knows this stuff for your municipality, how anybody can keep up on it. So you have to have a trust with your engineers. You have to, because you're kind of giving them
They're the experts.
you're giving it to them because they're the
We
experts.
paid them to do that.
I don't
We
know
paid
that
them to bottom
anybody
to do
could have
that.
saw
a lot.
Michael coming, because he's, Michael, he was really informed.
But
Yeah.
too, nothing against Mike, I mean,
Yeah.
he'd be great at, but that report would have went into the DEQ and they would have said,
Yes.
what the
Yeah.
heck is
Karen
this?
said
Well,
she
we-
They
would-
would have got kicked back anyway,
Right.
but,
We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to have it right when it goes.
And this Karen Nichols there, and she's going through this, she's just shaking her head. You hang on with it, she's just shaking her head,
She's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
Just
she's-
phenomenal.
really good.
yeah, she thought, that first meeting, she thought we were gonna beat her up and
Yeah,
Yeah, we were.
Well, see,
then we kinda, as we talked and kinda, she saw where we were at and I watched her as she was reading the thing from Giffords and she's like, and start shaking her head and it's like, oh, this isn't good.
well, what it is,
Well,
they're
we're working towards
listening.
getting it right,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
oh, right,
Yep.
And she sees that they're listing things, they're not putting a reason why they put it there,
right.
and that's.
But
what
this
it
is stuff
Very
we wouldn't
ambiguous
know.
stuff,
I mean,
yeah.
who would know that? Who would know to look
Well,
at that?
some of it's kind of blatant, I mean, just
I-
identifying things, but they're not telling you what to fix.
Well, are they
when to
going
fix
through,
it, how
is
much.
what Giffords doing, going through that list to determine what it takes to do
They
it?
actually
I
went
would
through
hope
the
so.
first list
Yeah.
that Karen made for them last week or week before.
That's what we're waiting for.
And
Yeah,
what they're
revision.
saying that it's not making sense to Karen?
It's not that it's not making sense, it does make sense to her because she's so
She-
involved in this type of
Well, she
program
approves
and
it,
she
yeah.
knows it. She knows some of the language and criteria that's in it, so she knows what they're saying, or what their intention is. but they're not putting it on paper and saying it. And the grant needs it spelled out.
And
So,
they haven't spelled out what
There's
needs
things
to
that
be
they,
done.
yeah, there's things that they haven't
What we need
identified and
to do.
spelled out. So Karen's going to be instrumental in getting what we
What we
need
need together.
into where we need it.
Yeah.
So with our first meeting, David, she made the points of 30, wasn't it 33 points?
And the first one,
And the first
32
one.
issues.
That she gave us to give to them. And the thing is, they didn't do it right away. They didn't get the paperwork here, the books that they were supposed to get. It was on a Thursday, wasn't it? And they didn't get it here. It was supposed to be on Tuesday or
They're
something.
supposed to have it to us by the following
Thursday
Tuesday, and on
or Friday.
Thursday,
Always
I'm
been
calling
too
them to
long.
ask where it's at.
So the answers don't come right away from them, see? So it looks like a trail that somebody's after them and they're
Well,
doing it at that time.
This type of report, when you change one page, you gotta go to this addendum, to this addendum, to this suffix, to this pre-something, to do, you know, I mean, it affects many different areas. And,
Many lines.
I mean,
So the
it's,
guys running the plant couldn't pick this up and say what needs to be done.
I'm not
don't
gonna
know.
say that they
Yeah,
couldn't,
yeah.
because Ken seems to understand, I mean, he read through the, plan proposal thing that he had today in 10 minutes, and he was identifying things and asking Karen questions on things that seemed to make sense to him, where it was foreign language to some of us.
right,
But we're just gonna have to, Giffords is our engineers, and we're just gonna have to push them a little harder to get some dates that are more concrete and that they've got to meet them. So it's the only way we're gonna be able to go forward.
Right.
Because like I said, it's too cost prohibitive to try to start over again. Am I happy with Giffords? No, they know that. They know none of us are happy with them. Because they're just not doing what they were paid to do. And when they do it, it's like it's haphazard and hurry up and get it done. Oh yeah, I gotta change that too. Well, yeah, this isn't included in that, even the last proposal. Well, there's more pages that this is gonna have to go into this. Let me just take that whole book back and I'll give you a whole new book on Monday morning when we meet. Well, Monday
when
morning
we-
came and went and still no
nobody
book.
showed up. And, well, nobody
No.
showed up for the meeting either.
So, yeah, they didn't even show up for the
Yeah,
meeting.
it was yeah. So, that's it.
So that's, so far.
That's
Any
it in a
other
nutshell.
questions?
So we have progressed. It doesn't seem like it's leaps and bounds, but actually it is.
It
because
really
At
is.
least
Each
now
time
we're
we
moving
keep
in the
getting-
right direction.
more and more understanding of, where we are and where we need to go. And
Well,
we'll
and-
keep progressing towards that.
Finally, it's going to go to the DEQ, and like we've said, they see that we're trying, that we're pushing forward, we're doing what we can. So we won't be penalized for not, meeting something while we're working with them, so.
With no violations.
Yeah,
There was no violation.
she's been great.
She's talked to Dennis Ryan about it.
Yeah.
Also, she's
Well, that's
confirmed
another
that.
issue too. I mean,
And then, like I say, he was supposed to.
He was supposed to be
Yes,
there
too.
too.
Miscommunication.
projection identifies violations all over the place, and we can't find anything from Dennis Ryan that really says
That's a
that
true
there were
violation, yeah.
true violations. So that's what we're kind of trying to nail Dennis Ryan down to, really, what is it that you said we need to do?
Well, because we'll work towards that.
Yes.
Right.
That's critical.
That's what
We won't worry about this
address
thing
first.
if this is more important.
Right.
So,
And Karen's gonna converse with him too.
Yep.
She gets back to Lansing too now, so, so he's aware of everything that she's done so far too.
Well, good job, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry I can't be here.
All of you guys are doing a lot.
I know, I appreciate
Gotta
it.
get done.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on,
Okay.
please, to the approval of opinion for performers for the Armada. Joe, do you have a comment on that?
This is just the simplest, easiest way to do it, so you don't forget somebody. It's hard to be at the jams on Wednesday night and say, "Oh my gosh, thanks, that was a good show, but I forgot to write you a check."
Okay,
So they're
now,
all
like,
done. I hold them, and we just issue
You
them
disperse them the next day?
Nope, that
That
night
night.
when they're
so
when
if it gets
concert's over.
canceled
and
that
they
night, you
perform,
don't,
But they don't
if they
get paid.
No.
okay. I'll move to approve creating the checks for all the performers at Armada Jams for the 2015 concert season, and to allow disbursement to the performers on the day of their performance.
Support.
Moved and supported, discussion? If not, all in favor?
You don't need
Aye.
a roll call.
Aye.
Well, yeah, it's spending money, we
Yeah.
better.
Okay. Conan?
Just one question or comments. How many jams do we have?
We got one extra one this year.
So
So
how
So
many
is that
does that
nine?
make?
10?
I don't know.
The
There's a
flyer-
list out, there's a
the
list
Yeah,
out there,
every
yeah.
county. I think it's 11 now.
Okay.
Okay, Conan,
Yes.
Ballard,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Bullock,
Yes,
Clark?
Yes.
motion carried.
Hope you guys can make all
Yes.
the jams.
It's a great series.
So when does it start?
June 10th,
June 10th.
and it starts with the Armada High School chorale. Last performance for the senior chorale girls and guys.
Yeah.
Okay, CDBG reallocation, that's probably you,
Yes.
Michelle.
It is. I have, you'll notice attached is an email that I got from Elisa Diaz from Home Literacy Partners. This was one of the nonprofits that we allocated to last year. We allocated $2,000. In a nutshell, what it says is, she appreciates $2,000. She's very happy with the generous donation. She said during 14-15, they have not served any low to moderate income individuals who reside in the village of Armada with free adult literacy tutoring, which is a good thing. I mean, it's been put out there. They've been, trying to get people in. They put it in, what'd she say? Libraries and schools and contacting the churches. And she just hasn't had anybody. So what she asked is if the council would allow her to spend that $2,000 in other areas of the county where they do need it. So that's,
Can we?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We verified that, we can.
Yeah, we can allow them to do it, otherwise, it'll get lost if she doesn't spend it.
Or we can reallocate it to the fire department for another one of those units, right?
We could, you know what, I'm not sure of. If you choose not to go this route, we can not vote on it tonight and I can make a call to the county. I would suggest if we're going to donate it, we would do it to the senior center because that's the project that's getting worked on this summer.
I like that.
But, or we can donate to the fire department again.
Help our community.
So that's up to you. I mean, if that's what you want, the motion's prepared to do it. If that's not what you want to do, then we
Well,
can.
if you could, I hate to make more work for you, but if you could get us a couple
Other options.
alternatives there, and then we'll.
I have to talk to the county to see, because this was nonprofit and we have to allocate, or we
So
don't have
much
to.
for,
Yeah,
But I think-
15%. I want to make sure that it's something that we can put towards our own capital improvement.
I love giving money to the Armada Senior Center.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I cannot find anybody from the village that uses it. I've asked a number of old people, including myself.
And what did you say?
I'm saying, I went up there for lunch and there was no lunch. I went up a couple times,
Yeah, lunch is
Actually-
only
one day a
one
week.
you know.
They
They
used to
do.
do it 5
Yeah,
years
they-
ago.
well,
You know,
they only
but
do
when
it
I
one
went,
day a
there
week.
was nothing there.
They
and when I-
do a lot of trips, and I know a lot of seniors that go on the trips from the village.
Well, that's what I'm looking for, some names so I can talk to them
Okay.
to see how
I will give them
satisfied
to
they
you
are.
when we're off
Meantime,
air.
I'm glad to vote to get money to seniors. But I would like to get some input that our people are really happy with what's going on there.
Or we can, like Sherry said, or we can donate to the fire department for them to get more equipment. That's fine too.
Anytime we can help
I
better.
guess if we find out what's legal for us to do.
Okay,
I can do that.
I myself, my opinion too is also support our own, not allot it to somebody else and
And I
the other stuff
I
in the
don't
county.
remember seeing anything at the school from them.
I'm not
Do
there.
we
so
have
I
to
don't
make
know.
a motion to table this till next meeting?
We can postpone till the next
Mr.
We
meeting.
could add it to the agenda next.
Well, you
No,
can,
we've got an
To
agenda
postpone.
statement,
Yeah, right now.
so we've got
Right
to
now.
postpone. Mr. President, I'll move to postpone till our next regular council meeting and, what is it, June?
June 8th.
June 8th.
I'll second.
Moving to support it. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
And I will get that information for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, up and coming agenda items.
No, have we moved up addendum letter of understanding,
Yeah.
salvage title?
Yep, she added something.
Yeah, you put it in.
I didn't write it down, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I was
Um,
gonna remember it.
I was gonna ask for council's permission to have, Attorney Bohorsky start working on something and take a first crack at doing a non-compete clause For the salvage title, come up with a letter of understanding that we can have the current salvage title officer sign, to make sure that if they were to leave the department, they wouldn't take those customers with them. They are Village of Armada Police Department customers, and we wanna make sure they stay that way. So, I think I would like
Good
Attorney
idea,
Bohorsky to start putting together a non-compete clause, because he probably knows what needs to be entailed more. Then have Chief Howard tweak it to what he needs, and then bring it to council, have us okay it, and then have the employees sign it. That's what I would like to do, if that's okay with council.
We could have a pretty good idea of an attorney himself.
Well, we had it, David, but the thing is that there was a rebuttal from the officer. So the thing is, the chief talked to him when he came back, from his vacation. And the officer talked to Steve, and we were sort of under consensus that we would have the chief write the clause or sentence or whatever pertaining to.
That's what I thought we were gonna do.
Well, that's what our intentions was to originally, even with our negotiating team with Audie and that. So, we agreed with Audie and I especially, Steve here can address it himself, but
We should probably hold some of this conversation.
Yes.
outside.
Right, I'm just looking for the
Okay.
okay from
Yeah.
council to have the attorney
Draft
draft something.
May I have a motion?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to have Attorney Bohorsky come up with a non-compete
I forgot about that.
clause.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, wait, to have Attorney Bohorsky draft a non-complete compete clause.
As an addendum, letter of understanding with regard to salvage title program, with regard to Armada Police Department salvage title program.
I'll second that.
Salvage vehicle program.
Village of Armada
Yep.
salvage title program.
I know an electrician in the audience here.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Yeah,
I second that.
we need a
Yeah,
I'm
they
second.
voted
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
No problem.
Do we need to do a roll on that? No?
Plug in
Okay.
there.
Gonna call for vote.
Yes, aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, no, actually, you wanna go through and ask if there's any audience.
Well, there's no citizens in
Citizens
the
comment.
no citizens in the audience, so there will be no comments. Council comments at this time. Any council comments?
I'd just like to remind everybody that there's 3 weeks in between, our next meeting isn't until June 8th. We moved this one up because of Memorial Day. It's next weekend, so it's gonna be, so nobody shows up early.
No other comments? Community events, is there any that, other than the Memorial Day parade with the ambets? Pay tribute to our veterans. They need all the support they can get. They've done a wonderful job over the years. And same with our local ambets and VFW in our area.
Do you know what time that starts and where it starts at?
I
The
think
parade
it's 9:30.
starts at the Ambets Hall.
10 o'clock, I think.
10 o'clock is the parade. And the route, I asked, no, I don't want to say, because I asked Howard and we're not sure.
Not sure.
We know it comes up North Avenue to Main Street, turns left onto Main, and I'm not sure if it comes up First Street or up Burke Street. Usually first. That's what the chief thought, so, but I believe that's the route. And then I believe once they get to the old elementary,
At
the
the
academy,
address.
excuse me,
Mhm.
they do the,
The address.
yeah, they do the service up there. And concerts in the park start June 10th. Everybody get ready for our concert series.
And the first one, like Michelle said, will be the chorale group from school, and they are awesome, and they'll be gone. The
Yeah,
seniors in that group will be gone. They're fabulous group.
Zelensky does a great job.
she does. Yeah, she's losing a lot of seniors, but they've got great kids behind them. but it's, yeah.
She's good about letting the kids be creative. That's what I like.
Okay.
Go bring that up. I'm gonna get all teary-eyed.
Yeah, yours is one of the seniors.
Mine's one of the seniors.
Next, we're supposed to have a closed session tonight.
Yeah, you need a motion, well, you don't have to do the 5-minute recess if you don't want
I'd like to make a
That's
motion to
just
enter into executive session at 7:41.
Support.
Moved and supported, discussion? If not,
not- I gotta do-
all in
Nope,
favor?
I gotta do roll.
Roll call.
Cooper,
Yes.
Baylor,
Yes.
Conan,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Wallach.
Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, give me a moment to turn off the camera because we don't film closed session.
You'll
And
turn
we
it back
will
on.
return, when closed session is over, the camera will come back on to reopen general business.
And I'm gonna go grab my.
Using that clock.
And supported with by Ballard?
By Cooper.
Cooper.
Okay, this we don't need roll, you just pass.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we have
Another agenda.
another agenda item, which is employment agreement approval.
I make a motion to approve the employment agreement between Andrew Cubitt and the Village of Armada.
Support.
Moved and supported, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Now it is time for the adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:56.
Support.
Moved and supported, discussion.
Was that you? Of course it
Val.
was.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm
Meeting
sorry,
adjourned.
Lyle.
Meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
You make
I was
it
thinking
really
you're gonna have
easy